Great. Well, wonderful, everybody. Tonight we're going to be doing a whole bunch of different things. We're so excited to have my great friend, Dino Pastin. The great Dino Pastin is going to be here with us. So Dino's going to be here with us. We're going to be talking a little bit about a different approach to soloing that we haven't talked about before, of approaching a solo a certain way. And then after Dino winds up, we're very excited to have Colin Hill with us again. Colin was on the show, several months ago, and played some amazing fingerstyle stuff, one of our own, and he has since moved to Nashville now and is playing fingerstyle incredibly well, and he is going to be sporting his brand new AER amp. So we're all excited to hear about that. To get us started off with, though, let me encourage you. We have got a couple of PDFs on our guitargathering.com on our community page for this live lesson that we're going to be referencing. So if you haven't had a chance to go ahead and download those, please take a moment to do that so that you can download those, because we're going to be definitely referring to those. You're going to be not knowing what we're talking about if you don't have those in front of you. So take a minute and play and download those so that you can keep up with us. So while you're doing that, we're just going to go ahead and play that first song that we're going to be talking about, which is the song All the Things You Are, just a very classic old Jerome Kern, I think, wrote this. Yep, Jerome Kern, Oscar Hammerstein, jazz standard. And we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in a little bit, but let's just first play it, kind of open up the show. And Dino, if you're ready,
all right,
let's go.
Go ahead.
A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. There you go. We kind of made it to the end of a little bit of all the things you are. Okay, so let's talk about this song for just a minute. Here's what I wanted to talk about tonight. This song is a typical jazz song. You've got tons of chords in it. It's in the key of A flat, as you can see by the key signature there, but it's basically a chord change every beat. So when you're trying to solo over a little monster like this, it's easy to get overwhelmed because you don't know. There's just a lot of chords to keep up with it. So there's different ways to try and approach a solo like this. One common way is just to kind of play in the key and hope for the best. And you'll miss a few chords along the way, but if a song stays pretty close to the key, then generally you can just play in the key and you're going to be pretty okay. But unfortunately, this one has some twists and turns along the way. So if I just do that approach and just play in the key, well, quite often I'm going to start clinking some notes because it goes out of the key for a few bars here and there. So I'm going to obviously sound wrong for that. Another way to approach it is to look at all what chord tones are in each chord. Well, an F minor seventh there in the second line, the beginning of the head. You have to think, well, that's an F, an A flat, a C, an E flat. The next chord is a B flat minor seventh. Well, that's a B flat, a D flat, an F, an A flat. You got to do all this musical math to try and keep up with what you're trying to solo over. So what the solos end up sounding like when you approach it from that way is you end up with a lot of arpeggios that are disconnected, and it doesn't sound like anything goes together. So if I approach it that way, Dino, let's play it. Let's slow it down a little bit, and
Okay.
we'll just start right ahead, and I'll just play it more of a chord tone approach, and you'll hear how it sounds. I'll try and not connect my notes together. 1, 2, the head, 2, 3, 4. It's a little up and downy, and it ends up sounding like that to the listener. Now, it sounds right. I didn't necessarily make a mistake. I didn't hit a landmine and on a C chord play an A flat or something like that, but I ended up with this kind of choppy, disjointed solo. It didn't sound like it really connected together. Well, let me show you a different way to approach a solo, okay? So there's times when you need to do all of that, but here's just another tool that you can whip out of your tool bag in approaching a solo. We talked a little bit about this last time, but let me just kind of introduce you to the concept. I can group chords by tonal centers, by what key a group of chords is in, and then solo in that key over that section of chords. Now, when it switches to a different group of chords, that may be in a different tonal center. So let me show you what I'm talking about. The first, if I'm in the key of A flat, this song is in the key of A flat. Well, we got to think a little bit, do a little bit of nickel's worth of theory here. The one chord in the key of A flat is an A flat major seventh. Play me an A flat major seventh.
Oh, A flat.
Okay, that's the one chord. If I go up and I build a chord off of the second step of the A flat scale, the B flat, it ends up being a B flat minor. Okay, if I build a chord on the third step, it's also a minor. It's a C minor. If I build a chord on the fourth step, that's a D flat, but the fourth step is major, so it's a D flat major. If I build a chord on the fifth step, that ends up being a different kind of chord, a dominant seventh chord. So it's major, but it's got a flatted seventh in it. So that's an E flat 7. If I go up to the sixth step and build a chord there in the key of A flat, I end up with another minor seventh chord, B flat minor seventh. If I do it on the seventh step of the scale,
F minor 7.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're in what, A flat? Okay. Yeah. So if I build it on the seventh step of the scale, I end up with a G minor seventh flat 5, a G half diminished. Okay. Now that's all the chords built up, 4-note chords in the key of A flat. So I know that's a lot. Basically, here's what you need to know: is the quality of each of the steps. 1 is a major seventh. 2 is a minor 7th, 3 is a minor 7th, 4 is a major 7th, 5 is a dominant 7th, 6 is a minor 7th, 7 is a half diminished. Okay, so you can group a couple of those together. The 1 and the 4 are both major 7ths. Chords built off the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th are minor 7ths, so that's most of them right there. So there's only 2 of them there's only one in the grouping. At the 5 chord, if it has a 7 on it, that is automatically telling you, or it's a big clue, that it's functioning as a 5 chord in a particular key. And then the 7 is the half diminished minor 7 flat 5. A lot of times that will signal to you, not always, but a lot of times that will signal to you that it's functioning as a 7 chord, as the 7th step of the scale. All right, with that little theory background, look at the first 5 bars of the head there on the second line. You have an F minor 7th. Well, in the key of A flat, what would the F minor 7th be? Think. That would be a
6 minor.
6 minor. Okay, and then it goes to the B flat minor 7th. Well, that's the 2 minor in the key of A flat. The E flat 7, it's got a 7 on it, so that's automatically cluing me in. That's saying I'm functioning as a 5 chord, so that's the 5, and then it's going to the 1, the A flat major 7. So all 4 of those chords are in the key of A flat. Okay, even the D flat major 7th, the next chord, is the 4 chord. So that's still in the key of A flat. So all those 5 chords there are all in the key of A flat. So if I don't want to bother with playing over all of those chords, I can just think in the key of A flat, noodle around in A flat, and I'm not going to hit any wrong notes. Okay, does that make sense? Because they're all in that same key. But look at the next 3 bars. We've got a G7 and a C major 7th. Neither of those are in the key of A flat, so we've obviously changed. But it's giving you a clue to what's going on. The C major 7th, well, it's either going to be functioning as a 1 chord or a 4 chord, but what tips it off is that G7. There's only one chord that has a 7 on it. That's functioning as a 5, so that is a G7, a 5 chord, going to a 1 chord in the key of C. And I'm throwing out a lot of theory at you, but I want you to kind of see what I'm doing there. So for those next 3 bars, a G7 going to a C major 7th for 2 bars, we're comfortably in the key of C. Okay, so the first 5 bars I'm in the key of A flat, the next 3 bars I'm in the key of C. And I even wrote that in the chart with little brackets there. You can kind of see those first 5 bars were in A flat, next 3 bars were in the key of C. So if I want to try and solo over a complex song like this, I can simplify it by grouping it and just thinking of 5 bars in A flat and 3 bars in C. So let's just loop those first 8 bars.
First 8 bars.
First
okay.
8 bars. Okay, so I'm not going to be thinking F minor, B flat minor, what's in an E flat 7 chord. I'm not thinking any of that. I'm just going to play an A flat scale for 5 bars, and I'm going to play in the key of C for the next 3 bars. Okay, so here we
How
go.
about if I just hit the chord too, so that they could hear you moving, and
Yeah.
I won't walk the bass. In other words, how about that?
Great.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A flat. C major. Let me simplify it even more. I'm just going to do an A flat scale so you can hear. Let's slow it down a little bit more. 1, 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see how I'm playing everything in A flat and just working? Now I go to C. Okay, I did pure scales, but I didn't hit a wrong note. So half the battle in music is just not hitting the wrong note. Isn't that true?
I'm still fighting that battle too.
Man, half the battle is just not hitting the wrong note. Okay, so now let's put it in some context. You walk the bass, we'll get a little bit of a jazz feel on it,
Okay.
and I'll just noodle around in A flat, then I'm going to noodle around in C. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. How I automatically, soon as I flipped to the key of C, you heard it in your ear and it sounded right. Now, if I would have missed that change, which I guarantee if you're new jazz player, you're going to miss that G7 because you're going to get all comfy in the key of A flat. You're going to play your favorite licks in the key of A flat. Then that G7's going to sneak up on you, and you're going to you're going to clamber your way all the way through that, which is what everybody does. And I'm trying to save you that embarrassment when you get onto the Grammys. Okay. Now take a look at the next 5 bars. This would be like the third line of the head. Well, now it kind of shifts around a little bit. I've got a C minor 7th, an F minor 7th, B flat 7, E flat 7. I've got to do a little bit of deductive sleuth work here to kind of figure out, well, what key do all of those now fit in? Well, I can't really tell from the minor 7ths because there's 3 different places in a scale that a minor 7th would appear. But there's only one place that the 7 chord would appear. So that's the B flat 7 that gives the whole thing away. The B flat 7 is saying, I'm a 5 chord. And sure enough, it goes to an E flat, which would be the 1 chord. So I'm going to say that we are safely in the key of E flat for the next 5 bars. Okay? So do you see what I did? Kind of see what I did there? Then for the next couple of bars, I got an A minor 7 flat 5. Don't worry too much about that just now. I go to a D7. Again, the 7 chord is what gives it away. That's the functioning as a 5. And then I go to the major 7th. Okay, so for those 2 bars, I'm pretty safely in the key of G major. The only wonky note is that flat 5 of the A minor 7 flat 5. But for those 2 bars, I'm pretty safely in the key of G major. Okay? So, all right, so let's play the next 8 bars, starting with the C minor 7. Okay? And if you have anything to chime in here, of your greatness.
I'm still learning from you, my friend.
No.
I'm loving this.
Okay, so this is C minor 7. This is the third line of the head. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, C minor 7. I'm playing an E flat major scale. Now I'm in G major. So I clearly made the chord change. I didn't step on any wrong notes, and I didn't have to go through, oh my goodness, all the college-level music theory of figuring out what all these chord tones are. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just trying to group them by keys, okay? So let's do now the first, what do we have? The first 16 bars now of the head.
Okay.
So now I'm going to start off in the key of A flat. I'm not even going to pay attention to what he's doing. I'm just going to change keys at the right time.
He rarely pays attention to what I do anyway.
I rarely pay attention to what Dino does anyway.
Okay.
Here we go. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to switch to E flat. G major. Great. Okay. So now you could debate whether it was the most interesting solo in the world, but I didn't hit the landmines. I didn't hit a wrong note when playing it because I was associating them by keys. So do you see kind of what we're doing there? We've got a couple of questions already. Doug H. is saying, how do you choose which set of jazz chords do you pick? As you state, there are 4 different families of chords. Great question. The chord that gives it away is the 5 chord because it's a 7. It's a dominant 7, and it's the only one that is a dominant 7th. Now, you may be tempted to think every time I see a 7 chord, it's functioning as a 5 chord. Well, not really. You get into blues, you get into some other types of secondary dominant situations, and it may not be necessarily telling you it's the 5 chord in a key. But most of the time, 80% of the time, 85% of the time, when you see a 7 chord, a dominant chord, which means it's not a minor 7th and it's not a major 7th. So there's only, I don't want to get you all confused with the terminology. There's basically 3 types of tonalities with the 7, dealing with the 7. You have major 7ths, which sound pretty. You have minor 7ths, which sound a little darker and rich. And then you have dominant 7ths, which are major, but they got this kind of bluesy quality to them. And so those are the three different types of seventh chords. Major sevenths, minor sevenths, or this dominant thing. Well, how do both of them, if both a major seventh and a dominant seventh are major chords, how can I tell the difference? The major seventh. If they wanted a major, when it says C major ninth, C major 13th, C major 13th with a flat 5, doesn't matter what other ornaments you throw on it, it's a major seventh. But when it says C7, C9, it doesn't say the magic word major, then it's functioning as a dominant. C13th, C13th flat 9, C13th flat 5, sharp 9, whatever. That is a flatted seventh in that chord. So hopefully that helps you determine where these notes are in these.
And for those of
chords.
you who don't have your chart, maybe it says MAJ means major seventh.
MAJ is the major seventh.
There are some jazz chords that have a little triangle that also means a major 7. Triangle 7.
Yep.
Or sometimes it looks just like a triangle, and it means a major 7 too. But that's what I do. I look for all the major 7s, and then I back up and I go, okay, what's in front of that major 7? Oh, okay, that's a 5. Then I'll go, well, what's in front of that? Oh, well, that's the 2.
Usually.
Most of these have a 2-5-1 progression.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to have a 6 minor in front of that too.
Yeah.
So that you could see the pattern as you go with these. But I always, when I see that dominant 7th chord, I always think, this is where it's going to change into something else.
Yeah.
Usually it does. But I love your approach with these tonal centers, because that's how I like to teach my students is that there's certain tonal centers. Man, if you just get those tonal centers down, that you can bypass those chords. You're playing in that scale, that major scale, simple major scale. I mean, if I know a major chord, if I know a major scale, I could just blow over these things. That's just an A flat scale, and it sounds like I'm playing a different scale because I'm hitting different chords, but it's actually just an A flat major scale.
Yeah.
So,
depending on whatever chord is underneath you, it gives it a different color. So he could just noodle. He's going to noodle an A flat, and I'm going to play all kinds of chords underneath him, and it's all going to work because all the chords that I'm picking are in the key of A flat.
You promise?
But he
Okay.
doesn't know that. He's just going to noodle around an A flat. I'm not going to tell him what I'm doing at all. Here we go. 1, a 2, a A flat, noodle, and. Now, but the minute that a chord change goes out of the key, then suddenly we're in a different place. So if we did this with one of our students, I would just play whatever, and I'd just say, just solo in A flat. And then when I tell you, solo in C. Okay, he's not paying attention to the chords or anything. I'm playing the chords, and I just tell him when to change keys. And he played a brilliant solo. Everything worked. He didn't hit on any landmines, and everything was great. Now, if I would have said, hey, look at the part and play that solo, he would have fumbled all over it because he's just not thinking by tonal center. So it's not everything. It's not the only approach to soloing. It's just another approach to soloing. Let's take another song. Dino brought another song, a Miles Davis tune called Tune Up. Okay? So that progression is there as well. While y'all are getting that ready, Tillman is asking, can you play thirds in the scale? Yeah, I can play thirds. I can play pentatonic. I can do chord tones. I can do my favorite licks. I can do whatever I want to do. As long as it's in that key, I can play all of my favorite licks in that key, and it's going to work over those chords. So yeah, thirds, single note lines. I can jump around in sixths, whatever. Okay, take a look at Tune Up. Okay? Now, this is you couldn't have asked for a better example of what I'm talking about with tonal centers, okay? Now, according to the key signature, this song is in D major, but it changes every 4 bars. So look at the first 4 bars. You have an E minor 7th, an A 7th, and a D major 7th. Well, in the key of D, how do I know that's the key of D? Well, again, it's the A7 that gives it away. As soon as it says A7, that's functioning as a 5 chord, so I can say that's the 5 chord. If A7's the 5, then D's the 1, then E's the 2. 2, 5, 1. You'll see that everywhere in jazz. But look at the next 4 bars. The next line, I've got a D minor 7th to a G7 to a C major 7th. Again, a completely different key. Well, I have to decipher what key is that. Again, it's the G7 that gives it away. That's the 5. If G7's the 5, then C is a 1, and D is the 2. So that means those 4 bars, I'm in the key of C. The next 4 bars down, I have a C minor 7th, an F7, and a B flat. By the same deduction, those 4 bars are in the key of B flat. Okay? And then the next 4 bars, it doesn't work so cleanly. Like you'll look at the next 4 bars. This is the 4th line, the first ending there. I've got an E minor 7th, but that doesn't necessarily relate to the F7 following it. But the F7 clearly relates to the B flat that's following it. So those 2 bars are in B flat major, but that E minor 7th, I'm just going to have to go back. It doesn't fit into my handy-dandy little tonal center thing because it's just 1 chord. So I just have to play the chord tones for that one. And then the A7th at the end is the same thing, and that gets me back to the key of D when the song starts. Cool?
Very nice, very nice.
So let's play it. I'm just going to, Dino's going to play the changes, and I'm going to solo. Okay? So here's the tune-up chords. 1.
You want to play the head at all or no?
No, let's just go right to the song.
Okay.
1, a 2, a 1, 2. I'm in D major. Thirds. C major. Now I'm going to switch it to B flat major. I have to play just the E minor 7. Now I'm in B flat major. Okay? I played a convincing solo. I didn't land on any landmines, and I wasn't thinking about those chords at all. I was just thinking in tonal centers. So it's just another way to approach soloing.
Great.
You know?
Great.
Because a lot of times you look at these jazz songs, and they got a gazillion chords, and you say, okay, I'll just solo around, and you'll botch it. You tell me you won't, but you will.
Miles Davis is great, too, if you want to listen to some more Miles Davis. He does this a lot. On a lot of his tunes, he'll be playing, then he'll do 2/5 of a different, and he'll go right to a different key, and then go right back to that key that he's playing in. So these songs that are 2/5 and they keep changing tonal centers are really a great study in knowing how to flow through there. I'm still learning these things and learning how to flow from one scale to another. And try to keep track of all these chords, too.
I wish I could say it's just magic that it happens, and some people have the magic, and other people don't have the magic. But it's not. It's a little bit of knowing some theory, some musical math, and keeping up with that. But, I mean, Dino's played on some of the biggest stages in the world, and it still just comes down to simple tricks like this.
I have to sit there and I have to go E. I have to go A7 goes to a D. Okay, now what am I going to play over my A7? And I basically have to think about the theory behind what I need to do with an A7 chord. How does an A7? How do you play an A7? What can you add to an A7? Then I go to a D major 7, which is the actual key we're in. But I have to sit there. Sometimes I'll do a 5, which is the A7, to a D. I'll just sit there and play for half hour or an hour. Just go, how could I make that sound? You know. Okay, well let me think. Let's see with that. And then I'll just keep figuring out. I mean, just keep going over and over again how to make different sounds, how to treat that 5 to 1, and it's a never-ending thing. You'll die learning. You'll go to your grave learning how to do this because it's never-ending. That's the great part about it is that you will be learning until the day you die.
Tillman is asking a great question. Don't you need to play 2-5-1 in the minor key? Okay. Just like we did this with major, Remember how we did that with A flat major, and the 1's a major 7th, the 2's a minor 7th? We deduced and figured out all that sort of stuff. Well, you can do that actually in a minor key as well, and you end up with a different kind of collection of tones that come with that. So there is a 2-5-1. That's a whole other show that we'll get into harmonizing a minor key. But the 2 in a minor key ends up being, a minor 7th flat 5 sort of a thing. And then the 5 would still be a dominant 7th, going to a minor 1 now. So yeah, well, that's a whole nother show on a minor key. The 3rd is now a flat 3rd, but it's a major 7th. So if I'm in the key of A minor, I don't play a C sharp minor chord. I play a C major 7th as part of that. A whole nother show. We'll do that. It's great. All right. Hey, let's give some stuff away. I want to leave some time for some other stuff. Dino and I will play one more tune, and then we'll get Colin up here. But I wanted to give something away. Let's give away, since we're talking about jazz, I want to give away some Benedetto jazz guitar strings from our great friends over at Benedetto down in Savannah, Georgia. So the winner of this is Mike Cruz. Mike Cruz, you have just won a great set of jazz guitar strings from Benedetto. Send me your information, though, at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we will get this out to you. So, hey! I'm so thrilled to have Dino here with us. Dino is one of my closest friends. He was a keyboard player for Barbara Mandrell, utility player. So you played keyboard, you played sax, you played harmonica, you played accordion.
Yes.
You played all of that with Barbara Mandrell and danced.
And danced, yes.
And danced.
I moved.
There are
I don't know about dancing, but I moved.
Fantastic, one of the best bands from that season, and there's some great YouTube videos of a younger, fresher, dancier Dino.
Look under Barbara Mandrell, though.
Barbara Mandrell. And then you were with Barbara Mandrell for many years, and then you were with Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great band. Loved being with those guys, too. It was great experience.
How long were you with
Just
Alabama?
blessed. I was with Alabama for 7 years.
Yeah.
Barbara for 10.
Yeah.
And then we met after I got off the road.
Yeah.
And basically at church.
Yeah.
We were. And
then we connected after that.
We were church musicians, and he Steve is an incredible. I heard him play, and just an amazing guitar player. It's just like, what are you doing here? Where'd you come from? And you came from
Texas, San Antonio,
Texas.
Go Spurs, go! My poor Spurs. They didn't make it this year. But hey, we got the Preds though here, who pulled it out last night, or a day or two ago. So hopefully we're going to win that Game 7. But anyway, so Dino's played with everybody here in town, and you've played all kinds of award shows. You did.
Yeah, when I was with
Country
those
music,
those
ACM.
Yeah,
did you ever do the Grammys?
Yeah, we did a few Grammy shows, and I got to play on several late night show things like that, like you usually do,
Yeah.
But my goodness, I have to look back and think about them because it's been so long now. I have to think about what I've played on. The other day I saw something that was I played on. I saw something on that I was with Alabama on in 2003 or something, and it was Dick Clark's "Rockin' New Year's Eve" or something, So we played on that too. Had a good time.
One of our most popular workshops that we do at our Guitar Gathering Summer Conference is the workshop that Dino and I do about improvising, and we've done that every conference so far.
Love it.
And that's one of our highest rated workshops consistently is that workshop. So Dino's going to be with us again for our Guitar Gathering 2018 conference, which is going to be June 20th through the 23rd. If you are available and are interested in completely getting out of your life for a while and coming down here to Nashville, we've got some amazing guests lined up. Winfield Fingerstyle guitar champion this year, Christy Linnae, is going to be here teaching fingerstyle. Joe Robinson, Australian Idol winner and just brilliant fingerstyle guitarist in his own right. Will McFarlane, Musicians Hall of Fame guitarist from the Muscle Shoals Rhythm Section. Phil Kagi is going to be here with us. And then just booked a week or two ago is Johnny Highland, chicken picking, rock, country. Wow, I'll match that lineup with any guitar camp in the country. And you can look. I looked this past week, and the costs for guitar camps were 4 or 5 times what ours is costing. So check it out. If you're in the Nashville area, June 20th through the 23rd, we're going to give you one heck of a conference. There's workshops and all kinds of sorts of things that you're going to be involved in doing. And so it's a lot of fun. Check it out, guitargathering.com. Guitargathering2018.com. We've got 65 people registered already. There's plenty of room for a few more folks. So it's not too late to get in on this. So, all right. I wanted to also announce that we had our sale for these going on last month, and I actually just got another shipment today, so I thought I was going to run out, but we've got one more box. So if you're still interested in getting one of our guitar tools to, tighten up everything on your pedal board and on your guitar, this is one of the best ones I've found. They're cheap. Doug can put up the link for that. That's in our store as well. But what we have going on for this month, I don't even have them yet, they arrive tomorrow, is we're doing a special on the incredible rock band Rush. So I found 2 great resources for them. It's got the guitar parts written out to all these great songs. Let me see if I can have my list of all the songs. It's got Tom Sawyer and YYZ and all of their really big ones with the guitar parts written out. If you're interested in learning Alex Lifeson, his wonderful parts there from the Rush collection, we've got that as our special sale this month. I was thrilled about that. Comes with play-along tracks, comes with video lessons, a guy teaching you how to play it, and it's really cool. So if you're interested, check that out. We'll only have that on this month, so it's the Rush Players Pack. So check those things out. We've got our Fingerstyle Guitar Retreat coming up in November with Phil Kagi already booked for that and Trevor Gordon Hall. So we're excited about that. We're going to go ahead and switch things out, and we're going to get Colin up here. So
Great.
Thank you, Dino.
Thank you.
For an amazing few songs.
I have enjoyed it, sir.
And we're going to switch them out for a while. And go ahead and switch out, and we'll get Colin up here. We'll kind of move the keyboard out and around here while all of that is going on. So there's a couple more questions that we had while they're doing that. Thomas Moore is asking, am I using arpeggios or scales? The answer is yes. When you're soloing, okay, this is a large concept in about 90 seconds while they're switching things out. Here's a little thing about soloing, okay? Salt. S-A-L-T. You're going to use, when soloing, scales. You're going to use arpeggios, okay? L is licks, okay? So when we were doing things in A flat, and Dino was playing all of his A flat licks, So like if I could play a scale, I could play arpeggios, doing an arpeggio that way, or I could play licky kind of stuff. That's just a little lick in the key of A flat, okay? Another thing that soloing is made up is the T, which are just tricks. S-A-L-T. Tricks would be it's just unique things that you can do on your instrument that are just a little trick that works. There's things that work on saxophone that is only, it's a saxophone kind of a lick. There's things that Dino does on keyboard that is a keyboardy kind of lick. So that's really all that you're going to find soloing is scales. If you analyze it, scales, arpeggios, licks, and then little tricks, little tricky things that you can do on your instrument. So, great. So the answer is, am I using arpeggios and scales? The answer is yes, I'm using all of that. So We've got everybody switched out here, and I'm so excited to have Colin Hill here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm
Colin.
excited to be here. Yeah.
I'm so glad
yeah.
you're here. We've got good audio here, and everything sounds okay. All right. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play an original that I have not recorded yet. It's called Tommy's Tune, and it's inspired by Tommy Emmanuel.
Yep.
And I would say it's kind of in his, well, it is in his style of writing. His there's a quote in there from one of his songs. It's just completely in his style, and hopefully it's something that sounds like him. But he's written some songs for Chet Atkins. Some of his people that he's watched. And so I guess that's kind of what this is like. But yeah.
Wonderful.
So okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, we already have a couple of questions coming out. Mike is asking, what guitar are you playing?
This is a Maton, so it's Australian made, and it is what Tommy plays, as well as Joe Robinson and all those people. And what I like about it is the pickup. The pickup just sounds so good, and it's their own system. There's a floating microphone on the inside of here that you can reach down and adjust and move around, and then an under-saddle pickup. It's got an individual piezo for each string, and then you can blend those two options on the pickup itself. So you can put the microphone wide open, you can put the piezos wide open, and then you have a bass and treble control and a mid control, and then a master fader, and it's incredible. I mean, the microphone picks up all the natural sounds, I guess, and I could turn it up louder, but it might feed back. It might, If I turn the pickup completely off, this is what the microphone itself sounds like. Kind of thin, and then when you put the piezos in, you have everything there. And it just rounds out the sound, but I think it's the mixture of the two that makes it sound. Yeah, I think that's what makes it sound just so natural.
Usually a pickup on an acoustic guitar it's a very brittle sound, and so it needs a little air sometimes and a little fullness that the mic can bring. So it's tricky to get a good balance with most systems, but the Maton system is just easy to just dial it right in.
Yeah.
And the very exciting part is the new AER amp.
Brand new.
This is literally its maiden voyage.
Yeah.
They just bought it this afternoon.
Yeah.
So what you are hearing online is a direct line out of the AER amp. He's going his acoustic guitar into the amp right into the board. So no processing other than what's happening in the amp.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. And those amps are, I mean, it seems like they're built for Matons. They're not. They're built in Germany by a different company, but they just sound so good with the Maton. I'm not sure what it is. But,
as soon as you play the first note, I thought, yep, that's the sound.
That is the sound.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to dial in. There's like a little EQ and the color button, and then you're good.
Yeah.
You're good to go. And Tommy actually makes a model, or they make a model for him, and I think it has like an extra reverb on it. And the reverb actually gets sent through the signal, so I think the reverb goes to the board or whatever on that model.
Yeah. They're small, they're lightweight, and they get a great sound. So, More is saying, what size of guitar is that? That's not a full dreadnought. It's a little bit smaller than that.
It's not a dreadnought. It'd be more like an OM.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, though, is it is pretty thick.
It's a normal full size there.
Yes, it is pretty thick. And I think that has to do with, I don't know, it might compensate for these tone woods because they're both kind of bright. This is a maple back and sides and then a Sitka spruce top. So a little bit more depth might be what they're doing there.
Yeah.
But it's balanced with that pickup, Yeah. A lot of people like it for recording because they plug it in, and then they put other microphones in front of it. But
practicing. Let's just kind of pick your brain about your practicing schedule, because obviously you didn't get to be that fluid on your instrument without really dedicating some serious time to making your fingers do what your brain is telling them to do. Tell us about your practice schedule, what you do.
Well, I used to have, I would write it out, have a practice schedule written out, and then I would say, okay, practice this for 10 minutes, practice this for 10 minutes, practice this. And it would add up, and every day I would come up with something new that I had to practice. And that's good, and actually I'm kind of starting to get back into that because I want to become more focused in what I'm practicing. Because there's just a million things that you could do, and there's a million things I want to do. I want to be practicing jazz soloing, and I want to be practicing a new Phil Keaggy song, or how to do anything like that. So recently I've rewritten some things to do, and one thing is picking exercises, because I'm just not used to doing up and down fast picking, and I want to be able to get fast at that.
And you're using a thumb pick.
Yeah, I am using a thumb pick, but I go back and forth. So it is easier for me to flat pick without the thumb pick, but I want to be able to do both, so I don't have to worry about that. But
Yeah.
And then, so all of that, I'm trying to learn songs and just learn songs and then arrange songs and then learn more songs, because
Right.
that'll just help you. It helps me just know the instrument better, you know.
If you want to check out some of the great things that Colin has put up, just go onto YouTube. He's got his YouTube channel there. Type in Colin Hill, Collin, 2 L's, and that will get you to his YouTube channel. And lots of great things. He's putting new stuff up on there all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Become a subscriber. He's going to do all kinds of new stuff. Does Colin have a CD out?
No, I do not, but I am working on that, actually. Yeah. I'm going to have some stuff professionally recorded. I would like to, I'm actually going to try and get some of my stuff on YouTube over to Spotify.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that works, but I'm still kind of researching that. But I do want to record an original album.
John is asking, do you have a website?
I do not.
Yeah, it's just the YouTube
just
and
the
Instagram.
YouTube and Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I try and post there every 3 days.
Yeah.
And I just, whether it's something I'm working on or just an arrangement of somebody else's, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a riff that I heard somebody play that I just loved. I'm like, I need to learn that, and I just learned that and repost it, and that's how those things get shared.
We've got just a few minutes left. What are some of your favorite techniques to do with fingerstyle?
I
like
love,
you do the arpeggiated stuff.
I love doing tremolo. I'm not. It's not a true tremolo because I'm not using 3 fingers. But like on the intro of that song. And then you can do it. Because it's a lot of mileage. It sounds nice, and
it takes practice to get it that fast. It's not an easy technique.
And I have to go back every single, I try and do it every night, and I sit there for 10 minutes, and I go like this. I go, and I just make sure that I have it perfectly even, because if it's not perfectly even, I can't speed it up.
Yeah.
It just gets clumsier and clumsier.
Yeah.
But it's all it is a thumb 2-1, thumb 2-1. Your thumb can be alternating, but these 2 fingers have to be on the same note, same string, and I guess it creates a triplet, really fast triplet, and then you can speed that up and create whatever little lines you want. But if you're arranging an acoustic piece, that's pretty nice to throw in. Yeah, changes it up for that.
How many? We had some folks ask, how much are you practicing on an average day? Do you think you have your guitar in your hands?
Oh man, I could always have it more. It totally varies. Sometimes I hope it's above 4 hours, 5 hours, and sometimes it's 1 hour, and then sometimes I feel like I'm on it all day long. Yeah. But some days I just can't do that. It's difficult to do that, but it's always helpful to be listening to somebody, and learning the song. If there's a goal to your practicing, it's so much easier, so much.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 20.
20, yeah. It's so great. Colin has kind of been with us in our guitar family for many years and has kind of grown up in our guitar family, and now he's just putting out some crazy great stuff. Before Colin plays his last song, let me give a couple of closing announcements here. Let's give away, wow, it just seems like we just got you up here, and now we're wrapping up the show. I want to give away 2 more things. So we'll need some more giveaway names. This, our good friends over at Martin Guitars have sent us some acoustic SP strings. These are phosphor bronze strings. The winner of this is John Steele. John, send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com. Name your address, your screen name, what you won. That always helps me out, so I don't have to go back and research it. And I want to give away this. This is Andy Reese's latest little project that he has done, and with a couple of friends here in Nashville. And Andy autographed this last time he was here. And the winner of this one is Comp G+1. Comp G+1. You've just won Andy's new CD, so that's great. send me your information, service@mightyoakmusic.com, and I'm going to give away one more thing, so you got to pull one more name. We're going to give away a Gruhn's mug. Gruhn's mug, a coffee mug. Be the first one on your block to have a Gruhn's coffee mug. The winner of this is Metal Dad. Metal Dad, you have just won a Gruhn's coffee mug. Congratulations, Metal Dad, Comp G+1, John Steele, and Mike Cruz. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we will get you fixed up with that. Hey, if you're interested in grabbing any of these guitar tools, we've just got about 10 of those left. Doug will put up the link for that. Also, if you're interested in the Rush resources, those are going to be great. We're actually, the next live lesson we have will not be next week because I'm going to be in Boston, but the week following that, I'm going to try and learn the intro to, or the main riff to Tom Sawyer. So that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in the Rush resources, check those out. We can get those on their way to you, as well as this. As well, we've got our conferences. Check those out, guitargathering2018.com. I think that's all the blabbering that I need to do. I am going to be in the Boston area this coming weekend and do have spots for a couple of lessons. So if you're interested in catching a private lesson with me while I'm in the Boston area this coming weekend, send me an email at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and I'll try and accommodate that. We've already got 3 lined up. I've got room for a couple of more. So what are you going to play for us?
Okay, I think I'm going to play Jerry's Breakdown.
Jerry's Breakdown.
See how this goes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Colin,
Thank you,
for
Steve.
being here with us. What a joy. I'm looking forward to having Colin at our guitar conference this summer. He's going to be helping teach some of the fingerstyle stuff. So yet another good reason to come to our summer conference. Hey, keep up the great work in your learning. Playing music's a blast. Is it fun,
Yes,
or is
it
it
is.
just a drudgery for you?
No, it's not.
I was reading an article today in the Wall Street Journal, something about that, about how guitar music is fading and about people aren't interested in playing guitar anymore. And actually, as I was reading it, I came across a quote by George Gruhn right here. So keep up the work in your guitar playing. There is nothing like being on stage and playing with a band or a solo and really killing it. It is an absolute joy. It's well worth the effort of doing it. So keep up the great work, and we will see you guys next time.